Arushi, I see you're working on something. What are you studying? It looks like an English book.
Yeah, Dad, it's for my business communication course. We have this assignment about writing professional emails and improving our English. I just don't see the point. I mean, I already know the basics of English. Why do I need to improve it further? It feels like a lot of extra work for something I won't even need that much.
Ah, I see. You know, that's something I've heard a lot of people say before, but let me tell you from experience, improving your English can make a world of difference, especially when it comes to job opportunities.
Job opportunities? But I'm not going to be working in an English-speaking country. Most of the jobs I'm looking at are right here, where everyone speaks our local language. How does English play a role there?
You'd be surprised. Even in jobs where the primary language might not be English, companies value employees who are fluent in English. It's not just about speaking the language fluently. It's about being able to communicate professionally, write reports, negotiate, and present ideas clearly. English is the global business language, and mastering it can really open doors for you.
But don't most people already know some English? I mean, I've studied it in school. It's enough to get by, right? Why would companies care if I speak English perfectly?
That's a good question. Yes, many people know the basics, but there's a big difference between basic conversational English and being able to use English at a professional level. It's like the difference between being able to cook a simple meal and being a professional chef. A lot of people can speak English, but those who can use it effectively in the workplace stand out. Think about it. If you're applying for a job and there are two candidates, one with average English skills and the other with advanced English, who do you think the employer will choose?
Well, the one with better English, I guess, but I still don't understand why. If the job doesn't require me to speak English all the time, why would they prefer the one who's more fluent?
It's because English proficiency shows more than just language skills. It demonstrates that you can communicate clearly with international clients or partners, that you're adaptable, and that you're capable of handling tasks that require precision in communication. In many companies, especially larger ones, you'll find yourself dealing with people from different countries. Whether it's through emails, meetings, or reports, being able to communicate confidently in English is crucial. Let me give you an example from my own work. You know, I deal with clients from different parts of the world, right?
Yeah, you've mentioned that a few times. I remember you had that big project with some clients from Europe last year.
Exactly. Now, none of them spoke our local language, so we communicated entirely in English. Imagine if I had poor English skills. Do you think they would have trusted me to manage such an important project? Probably not. The company trusted me with international clients because I could communicate professionally in English. That project opened up more opportunities for me. And it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't worked on improving my English over the years.
But Dad, you've been in your field for so long. You've had years to practice English. For someone like me who's just starting, how do I even begin? It feels overwhelming.
I understand how you feel. It can seem overwhelming at first, but the good news is that you already have a strong foundation. You don't need to become perfect overnight. It's about consistent improvement. There are small steps you can take that will make a big difference over time.
Like what? I know you're going to tell me to watch more English news or read more books, right?
Well, those are definitely good suggestions, but it's not just about watching the news or reading books. It's about focusing on specific areas where you can improve, depending on what you want to do. For example, if you're interested in business, you could start by learning business vocabulary and practicing writing emails in English. Try watching interviews with successful business leaders. Many of them are in English, and pay attention to how they speak, how they structure their sentences, and how they present their ideas.
So, you're saying I should tailor my learning to the field I'm interested in?
Exactly. Think about the kind of job you want. If it's in marketing, finance, or management, your ability to write persuasive reports, make presentations, and communicate with international clients or colleagues will be key. In fields like IT, engineering, or even healthcare, technical English is important because you'll often need to read manuals, research papers, or communicate with people from other countries.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about speaking? I feel like I get nervous whenever I have to speak in English, especially in front of others. What if I make a mistake?
I know that's a common concern, but don't let the fear of making mistakes hold you back. The truth is, even native English speakers make mistakes. What's important is how you handle them. If you make a mistake, correct yourself and move on. Don't let it affect your confidence. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become. I remember when I was your age, I wasn't confident in my English either, but I pushed myself to speak more, even when I wasn't sure if I was saying everything perfectly. Over time, I got better.
But it's easy for you to say that, Dad. You're already so good at it. I feel like people will judge me if I don't speak perfectly.
It's natural to feel that way, but trust me, most people won't judge you. In fact, many will respect you for making the effort. The key is to keep practicing. Remember when you first learned to ride a bike? You were scared at first, but once you started practicing, it became second nature. Learning to speak English fluently is the same. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. One thing you can do is practice with friends or classmates. You could even join a group where people practice speaking English. The more you put yourself in situations where you have to speak English, the more confident you'll become.
I guess I could try that. I've heard of some language exchange programs at university where students can practice English with each other. Maybe I'll check those out.
That's a great idea. And there are even online platforms where you can talk to people from all over the world in English. That way, you get used to different accents and speaking styles. The more diverse your practice is, the better prepared you'll be for real-world situations.
Yeah, that might help with my confidence. But what about writing? I know you mentioned emails earlier. I always struggle with formal writing in English. It's hard to make my emails sound professional without overthinking every word.
Writing can be tricky, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. When it comes to formal writing, the structure is key. Start by learning how to properly format a business email or letter. Once you understand the structure, focus on clarity. Keep your sentences simple and to the point. In business communication, being clear is more important than using fancy words. Here's a tip. Before you send an important email or document, take a moment to read it out loud to yourself. That way, you can catch any awkward phrases or mistakes.
That's helpful. I think reading it out loud will make a difference. I sometimes write emails and feel like they're too wordy or unclear.
Exactly. Clarity is key. And don't be afraid to ask for feedback. If you're working on an important email or report, ask someone to review it for you before you send it. That way, you can learn from their suggestions and improve your writing over time.
Okay, I'll try that. But what about when I actually get a job? Do you think my English will still matter once I'm hired?
Absolutely. In fact, your English skills might matter even more once you start working. Think about it. When you're in a meeting, giving a presentation, or negotiating with clients, your ability to communicate clearly in English will be essential. Even if you're not using English every day, there will be situations where it's required, especially if you're working for a multinational company. And here's the thing. If you're good at it, your colleagues and managers will notice. You'll be the one they rely on to handle international projects or communicate with clients from other countries. That gives you a competitive edge.
I see. So it's not just about getting the job, but also about standing out once I'm there.
Exactly. In today's job market, companies are looking for employees who can bring something extra to the table. English proficiency is one of those skills that can set you apart from others. It shows that you're adaptable, capable, and ready to handle challenges in a globalized world. Think about it this way. Improving your English is like investing in yourself. It's not just about passing a test or impressing an employer, it's about building a skill that will benefit you throughout your entire career.
I guess I never thought of it that way. I've always seen English as just another subject in school, but now I see how it's more than that. It's like a key to more opportunities. Thanks, Dad. I think I needed this conversation. I'm going to take my English studies more seriously now, especially if it can help me with my career. I hope so. I'll keep working on it and take things step by step. It's good to know that something as simple as improving my English can make such a big difference in my career. I hope you like our conversation. Please subscribe and share this channel with your friends and family. Thanks in advance.